are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. I'm guessing we are the only college football YouTube channel that is doing a Senior Bowl watch party. That is how sick we are here at PATC. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with the family and your friends. If you want to donate to this College Football Rebel Outpost channel, hit the $sign where you make a comment, and I'll get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls later in the show. National versus American. And I am putting the line. I don't know what the line in is Vegas. I do not care. We're going to the any given Saturday sportsbook here in Heisman City, where the PATC family lives. We went to the sportsbook, and the line was put at National minus 3.5 points, and I'm taking National. I looked at the rosters, and I'm gonna go through right now the big play. They're all a lot of these guys are gonna be drafted. They're in the Senior Bowl. They're trying to improve their NFL stock. One more look at competitive ball before the spring NFL draft. Let me go through the roster, not the entire roster, okay? 4-team national. And again, I'm not going to hit upon every player. There's a lot of good players on both rosters that I'm not going to mention. On the national, the quarterback, Dillon Gabriel. Now, this is the team that I've got put at minus 3.5. So, you geniuses out there, PATC family, you want to take the American? You want to get the 3.5 points? I'll put up a poll here in a moment. National roster. Dillon Gabriel, quarterback. Running back. Damon Martinez, Miami, who was the great running back at Oregon State and transferred to Miami. Running back, Donovan Edwards, Michigan. Running back, Oklahoma State Cowboys, Ollie Gordon. Wide receiver, Mr. Higgins, Cyclones, Iowa State. Wide receiver, Xavier Respro from Miami. Tez Johnson, Oregon, the great wide receiver, the Duck. Tight end, Harold Fannin Jr., Bowling Green. The offensive lineman from Oregon, Josh Conlery. Defensive lineman, Joshua Stewart, Michigan. The great defensive lineman from Marshall, Mike Green. Defensive lineman who's played some linebacker, of course, for Arkansas, Landon Jackson. I guess he's, I guess the NFL teams are looking at him as a rush defensive end. Defensive back, Virginia Tech, Dorian Strong. Defensive back from Louisville, Quincy Riley. Defensive back from the evil Iowa Hawkeyes, just Sebastian Castro. Those are some of the key players in the national. On the American roster, who I think is David in this Goliath versus David Senior Bowl matchup. Quarterback Jalen Milroe. Quarterback Riley Leonard. Quarterback Jackson Dart. Running back R.J. Harvey, UCF. Running back Devin Neal, Kansas. Bashard Smith, the running back from SMU. Wide receiver Ty Felton, Maryland. Jack Beck at TCU. I think there's a lot more juice in the wide receiver room on the national team with Mr. Gabriel. That's why one of the reasons why I've got national with the edge. Offensive lineman William Lumpkin, North Carolina. Emory Jones, LSU. Texas A&M defensive lineman Shamar Stewart. I've heard he's not going to play, though, so I'm not quite sure on that. Walter Nolan and Deion Walker from Ole Miss and Kentucky. Woo! That is some pretty good defensive tackles there. Nolan and Walker. Jack Kaiser, linebacker from Notre Dame, who's played 1 million games in his Irish career. He has set the all-time record for the most games played in South Bend. And, of course, he's not going to skip the Senior Bowl. He's definitely not going to skip the Senior Bowl, Jack Kaiser. And then Billy Bauman, Oklahoma defensive back, and a whole lot more. That is some of the rosters for the American and National. Thank you for coming on in. I appreciate it. Let's have some fun. Who's going to be? Put it down in the comments. Put it down on the comments. Who's going to be the player of the game for the American? Who's going to be the player of the game for National? Ryan Brooks is in the house. Mr. LSU Tiger. Kerry Gold Nose, Mr. Seminole. Too easy 11. He actually playing it. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not going to put the game on the. I do not own the rights to the Senior Bowl. The NFL Network owns the right to the Senior Bowl. I could not outbid the NFL Network. No, I do not show. If that's what you mean, I do not show games. Watch parties. We watch it at home, in the bar, on the road, whatever. And we put down comments in real time, and we have some fun. Some of you might not have the NFL Network. You can just listen in, and I'll be trying to describe the game. But we're going to be talking college football during this afternoon as well. There's some things I want to talk about. AMAC is in the house. Stephen Clark, hello everybody, go Gophers. There are 4 Golden Gophers at this senior game. Maybe one of them will win player of the game. The Gophers have the left tackle, number 69, Ursary, who's probably going to be a late first-round draft pick. Maybe he'll creep up in the middle of the first round, number 69. They've also got in this Jaw Joyner, number 17, the great defensive end, number 17. I think he'll probably splash in this game. Colton Lindenberg, the linebacker, and a late arrival, a late addition. Disco Danny Strigow, defensive lineman. He's also at this, a participant in this game. Stormy Cyclone, you got Mr. Higgins. Stormy Cyclones is in the house. Mr. Buckeye, Caleb Ramirez, Don Scruggs, Trevor Etienne. Could he be the player of the game? Trevor Etienne, get him involved. 4 Gophers are at the Senior Bowl. James Foster, go Sun Devils. The evil Badger, Ryan Willie. Badgers would love to win back to Axis. You ain't getting it. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. The Axe is going to stay for a very long time in Minneapolis. Don Scruggs, can't believe how fast the season went by. Kerry Gold knows I'll be in and out of the watch party as it's a beautiful day on the beach. Wow. Thank you for the super chat, Kerry Gold knows. It's snowing right now. It is snowing where I am in Minnesota. The snow is coming down. And Kerry Gold knows is on a beach. And I'm guessing the snow is not coming down with where Gary Gold knows is. That's my guess. The big Lubbock. Hello, PATC. Copyright infringement, slap on the wrist. Yeah, I cannot show it. I cannot show it. Better dead than red. Holy smokes. He wasn't for us all year, but let's see. Can Trevor Etienne be magical today? Some guys are going to improve their NFL stock. Some are going to drop like a rock. Let's go, kick off. I don't know who's got the ball. I do not know who's returning it. How is that for your play-by-play? How is that for your play-by-play? I got no idea what's going on. Okay. And I can't hear the announcers either, so keep that in mind. The national quarterback, Tyler Shuck, is also quarterback behind Dylan Gabriel. It looks like Nationals, no. I don't know what the hell's going on. Gabriel. What is that? Oh, he's got Oklahoma on one side of his helmet and an Oregon Duck on the other. He confused the hell out of me. Gabriel hands it off. Couple yards. Is that to Ollie Gordon? I don't know who that was. Who got the ball there? Harold Fannin, we talked about him. Billy Bowman. Second and 5. Second and 5. Nationals got the football again. Ollie Gordon. First down. Holy smokes. Are we going to big hole, Ollie Gordon. Is Ollie Gordon going to be the player of the game in the Senior Bowl? Again, I've got National minus 3.5 points. That is the spread I put on this game. Gabriel back to pass. Beautiful. Great pocket awareness. Dumps it off to Bowling Greens. Fannin Jr., who's going to be a high draft pick. Ryan Willie, do you think Wisconsin's DB will win his lawsuit? Are you talking about the next Wisconsin DB who's filing that he should have some more eligibility? Is that the one you're talking about? I have no idea. Ryan Willie, I have no idea. I haven't really looked into that. There's so many. Ooh, Ollie Gordon gets dropped behind the line of scrimmage. It's going to be third down for National. I have not really looked into it. I have not looked into it. No idea. We know that junior college participants have earned another year of eligibility if they're, we've got Diego Pavia, and there's some other junior college, some guys who's played at least 1 year in junior college. Gabriel dumps it off. Go for that first down. Dumps it off to the running back. Another first down for National. And that looks like to be Woody Marks. Correct? Woody Marks. He's great he had a great senior season. A fantastic senior season. USC Trojan. Woody Marks. Gabriel back to pass. Ooh, there was some miscommunication. Wide receiver went in. Gabriel thought he was going out. Thank you for the super chat, Ryan Willie. I appreciate it, but I have no idea. Everybody's filing a lawsuit, and there was more lawsuits filed against NCAA versus the House. More objections, I should say, filed late last night. It's hard to keep up with it all. Pitching it out to Woody Marks. He cuts back. Good 4 or 5 yards for the USC Trojan. It's going to be about a 3rd and 5 at the 45-yard line of the American. National versus the American. National starts off with the ball. Again, I've got them 3.5-point favorites. Looking at the rosters, I think they got a little bit more juice. Now, the American has a better quarterback core than the National. It looks like the National's got the top quarterback, and then the Americans got the next three. Dump off, first down again. Gabriel looks great. Mr. Higgins, Jaden Higgins, first down. Mr. Cyclone, where's Mr. Higgins going to be drafted? Where is Mr. Higgins going to be drafted? First down and 10. Gabriel hands it off, and that might be Ollie Gordon under there. No, yes, it is. Ollie Gordon with the carry. Second down and 8. No, I'm sorry. Second down and 6. Second and 6. Gabriel goes backwards. Ollie Gordon's going to heave it. Halfback pass. Touchdown! To Mr. Higgins. Holy smokes.
Touchdown!
Gabriel.
Touchdown!
Backwards pass to Ollie Gordon.
Touchdown!
Ollie Gordon heaves it up in the end zone, and Mr. Higgins comes down with it. National takes an early lead. Holy smokes. Did you have first touchdown pass in the Senior Bowl? Did you have it Ollie Gordon? Did you? Did you have the first reception of a touchdown pass, Mr. Jaden Higgins? I did not. 6-0. They're going for 2. Gabriel. They got it. Oh my God. Oh my God. We might be looking at a blowout here in the Senior Bowl. National has taken an 8-0 lead on the first drive. 70 degrees in Neptune Beach. That's a little cool. With a little bit of wind. That might be a little cool, Gary Gold knows. You might have to have a few drinks to warm up. Stormy Cyclones, A.T.D. Higgins. Holy smokes. Look at Gabriel's helmet again. I know it's Oklahoma and it's Oregon Ducks, right? And then Ollie Gordon has 2 helmets on it. That's winter jacket weather in Neptune Beach. Wow. Oh, Gabriel also has a UCF on the back of his helmet. I'm sorry, I did not see that. Wow. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. UCF got him a start. Woo! 8-0 National. Now, there is some stuff I want to talk about here in college football. There has been some discussions about this Tony Altimore putting down these media rights, updated look at the estimated average media rights value. With the ACC settling things down for a bit, here's a quick update on how conferences compare with the media rights value from now into the early 2030s. He goes in depth here, and again, it's an estimate. This person presumably is doing the best he can and all that stuff. But I'm going to, first of all, the ACC, he says, why are the ACC TV numbers always confusing? Well, the ACC numbers are really unknowable. The media money that is going to go be distributed, media money alone, not conference payouts, media rights estimates, that is, it's unknowable. I mean, I don't even know how you can even make a projection. I don't even know how you can make a projection of what average ACC team is going to make next year in media rights. How could you go out to 2031? Because there are so many variables. We do not know. Just this Kumbaya event that just happened, we don't know if there was any more money given in that compromise. We have no idea. Zero. We don't know if all the money being distributed from Stanford, what Stanford's not getting, what California's not getting, and we know SMU is giving all their media money away, the pro rata. We still don't know how that's all going to be distributed out to the team. We don't have a clear picture of it. This year, we're going to get a little bit more clear picture. Next year, we're going to get more of a clear picture when we get the revenues of the athletic departments reported to us in the spring of 26. That's when we're going to get a more clear picture. And then, of course, you have what happened a couple of days ago. Whatever those numbers turned out to be, there is no way on God's green earth there's going to be a $20 million difference between ACC average media money payout and the Big 12 average media money payout. There is zero. This is absolutely ridiculous. So, again, it's another beautiful chart that means absolutely nothing. I mean, the ACC hasn't even been averaging $50 million in conference payouts. The ACC gets in the low 20s on their Tier 1 money. They get about $4, $5, $6 million ACC network money. The ACC has been getting about $30 million in media money if you total it all up, 30 to 31. About $44 million when it comes to conference payouts. And suddenly, every average ACC school is going to be averaging $51.3 million on media money alone. It makes no sense. I think a lot of this is a mixture of conference payouts and media rights payouts. But I made my comments on X. I would not take that seriously at all. Just my observations. I know that's been going around on X. 2nd down and 6, the Americans got the ball down 8 points. Boom! Is that Nolan? Who is that? No, Alexander, Toledo. Stormy Cyclones, multiple stickers on multiple players' helmets. It's on the NFL Network. On the NFL Network. I do believe that the average conference payout in the ACC, including the average media rights payout, is going to top what the Big 12 is doing. That I do believe. but not by 20 million. Is that a first down? Is that back? TCU Horn Frog Leonard. First down. First down. The American. First down and 10. Riley Leonard gets to start. He's under center. He's getting, why didn't he not get sacked? Somebody missed him. Holy smokes. I think it does a little bit, RT. I think it does. I mean, Mel Kiper talks about it. Oh, he did good in the practices leading up to the game have a big effect on it. But Mel Kiper and those guys say, well, he was pretty good in the Senior Bowl. He tailed off in practices in the Senior Bowl. They talk about it. I think, and all those draft Nick guys, all those representatives of all the NFL teams are there watching the game. So it has to have some effect. The combine has some effect. Everything has a little bit of effect on it. What do we got? We got Jack Beck fishing. TCU Horned Frog. Wide receivers already got a catch today. 3rd and 3. Leonard back to pass. He's getting rushed. He dumps it off. Oh, is it a fumble? Is it a fumble? Castro, Iowa. Is that Higgins? Oh, he was down. No fumble. Yeah, no fumble. He's down. Kerry Golnose has better eyesight laying on the beach than I have here in the studio. Kerry Golnose's eyesight is better when he's laying in the sand having a margarita. Everybody calm down. They're still going to have to punt it though, right? That was 3rd down. Am I wrong on that? I might be wrong on that. Okay, what else in college football? We've got a new defensive coordinator for the Fighting Irish. New defensive coordinator. I'm going to show you the picture of her on a Twitter account. This was, if you didn't see it, this was the halfback pass by Ollie Gordon to Mr. Higgins in the end zone. Touchdown, National. I wanted to show you that. And then And here is the report that's come out, and it's been out there for a couple of days. Chris Nash, what does Chris Ash brings as Notre Dame's new defensive coordinator, and why the ex-Rutgers coach is primed for success as a recruiter. Chris Ash returns to the college football at Notre Dame, where he replaces Al Golden as the Fighting Irish coach. Marcus Freeman, new defensive coordinator. Chris Ash. Interesting. Interesting. Defensive coordinator. He was a big-time defensive coordinator before he became a head coach in college football. What do we got? 1st down and 10. I'm actually wearing a sweatshirt and shorts. Yeah, it's a little cool. 70 degrees. The ocean, Morris Simmons. Hello, everyone. Gold nose. Oh! That did not go anywhere. The running back fell down. Jones, LSU Tiger. Nothing there. 2nd and 12 for the National, up 8-0. Dylan Gabriel was in on the first possession, and he looked really good. He's going to be drafted high up in the 1st round. Dylan Gabriel, where do you think he's going to be drafted? Does Dylan Gabriel get drafted within the first 7 picks in the NFL draft? Yes or no? Is he going to get picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or outside of the top 7 picks? Yes or no? Let me know. Dylan Gabriel. Now everybody says Shedeur Sanders is going to be one of the top quarterbacks. Dylan Gabriel, what is he going to be, the 3rd or the 4th quarterback? Is that going to put him outside the top 7? How's the weather today in Minnesota, Greg? It's snowing right now. The snow is coming down. Not too cold. Not too cold. We've been warming up a little bit here lately, which is good on one case, but on the other case, it brings in the moisture. And now we're going to get snow. Hopefully we don't get too much, because the little general and I are doing some traveling next weekend. We're going down south. We're driving down south. Southern Minnesota. Southern Minnesota. The culture is a little bit different down in the south of southern Minnesota. So we're gonna take a little bit of a vacation. Not much. You guys won't even probably notice the difference, but we're going to Wabasha. We're gonna go to the Eagles Center for like the 5th time in about 7 years. We're gonna watch the Eagles. In February on the Mississippi River, there's about 200 bald eagles that congregate and eat where there is running water in the Mississippi River, along where Wabasha, Minnesota is. That's why the National Eagle Center is located in Wabasha, Minnesota. It's a beautiful place, and so that's where we're going. But it's a beautiful drive, absolutely beautiful drive if you take the roads next to the Mississippi River to go down south. But it's also kind of scary if the roads are icy, if they have any snow on them, because it's like this. It's more than a little dangerous. So I'm hoping the roads are going to be okay. Get this snow done now. Melt. Put the salt down, so the fat guy from Minnesota and the little general can get down there safely. Son of Sarek says no. Look at this. Look at this landslide. 92% of you say no on Dylan Gabriel. Holy smokes. It's because southern Minnesota borders the stinky Iowa pig farmers. He'll be a first rounder, not just in the top 7. Okay, you know what? Let's do something here. Hold on. I don't know what we should be looking at. NFL.com. Okay, let's do this one. I got to get this off here, though. What the heck is this? I don't want this advertisement. How do I get this advertisement off here? Okay. First down and 10. The Americans got the football. Leonard is still in at quarterback. We might have a pre-snap penalty. American down 8. So this is Eric Edholm, NFL.com, mock draft. Abdul Carter goes to Tennessee, number 1. Edge rusher, junior, Penn State. The Cleveland Browns with number 2 pick take Travis Hunter. The New York Giants take Cam Ward. So Shedeur Sanders hasn't been taken yet in this mock draft. A big play by National. That is a loss. American's going to be second in forever. Cam Ward gets taken as number 3. Cam Ward, the first quarterback taken in this mock draft. Defensive tackle for Michigan, Mason Graham. Tyler Warren, Jacksonville. Woo! Tight end's going to be taken in the top 5. Ashton Jeanty, a running back. The Las Vegas Raiders, number 6. Really? A running back is going to be taken number 6? I am not buying that. Shedeur Sanders, number 7, to the Jets. Number 8, Jalen Walker, Carolina Panthers. T-Mac, the great wide receiver from Arizona, number 9, to the Saints. It's 3rd and 12 for the American. The American needs a first down. The Chicago Bears, according to NFL Network mock draft, takes the great left tackle, Will Campbell. San Francisco 49ers, O-lineman from Missouri. First down, American. Dallas Cowboys take Tyler Booker, Alabama offensive guard. Miami takes Calvin Banks, the great offensive lineman from Texas. South Carolina, Shamar Stewart, Mikael Williams, Georgia, Arizona. Holy smokes, the quarterbacks are not being taken. Matthew Golden, Jihad Campbell. Colston Loveland, great tight end from Michigan. Broncos, number 20. Will Johnson, who was nicked up during the season. Pittsburgh, number 21. Caleb Johnson, another running back in the first round. The Chargers. The Packers take Ohio State offensive tackle Simmons. The Vikings take Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, Oregon. The Houston Texans take Zabel. North Dakota State, Donovan Jackson, Ohio State offensive lineman. Mike Green, the great defensive pass rusher, Detroit. James Pierce, Tennessee. Buffalo takes Kenneth Grant. The Eagles take Burden. So, what do we got here? They don't even got Dylan Gabriel going in the first round. They've got Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward as the only two quarterbacks taken in the first round. The Americans moving the ball here. 12 seconds to go in the first quarter. American timeout. Come check out North Carolina. Got a great steak place y'all should try, Greg. Give me a medium rare rib steak. Seared on both sides. Rib steak, ribeye, seared on both sides and medium rare. 28 days of dry age. And I'll go check it out. I will go check it out. Southern Minnesota likes cheeseburgers. They probably do. I don't doubt that for a moment. They probably do. Cam Ward over Shedeur. Vegas is the perfect spot for Genty. It may be, but man. And I think he's going to be a great running back. That's incomplete. They missed Leonard Beck. It just didn't quite happen. It did not quite happen. Second out and 10. I think Genty's going to be a fan. But taking a running back that high. Woo! Woo! What's the best foodie place near ya, PATC? Well, we just went to a steak place a couple weeks ago. Ballamar. It was good. It was good. It was very good. In Roseville, Minnesota. Ballamore. Very good. Because the quarterbacks this year are not good. Greg, you watched the bowl games. Yeah, but Dylan Gabriel. Mix. Dylan Gabriel. You know, he's not just a check down Charlie quarterback. He's accurate downfield. He's got great pocket awareness. He's also got an arm. Have you seen the reports? The mile per hour he's got a fastball. He can put it in the tight windows. He's got touch. The only thing that he doesn't have is measurables. And that's important. But come on. I mean, he's got production. He's had health. He's got, he can process the field. He's got skills. He's very accurate. He's got great pocket awareness. And he doesn't have feet of sled. Man, oh man. People are missing out on Mr. Dylan Gabriel. If that mock draft, you know what we're going to do? We are going to cover the mock draft this year. We are going to do a live show on every single day of that mock draft. So you guys can come on here and root for your NFL team and congratulate your guy who graduated or maybe not even graduated, but went on from your team in college to go to the NFL draft and got picked up. We're going to do it. We're going to do a live show, live coverage of the NFL draft watch party. So that's going to be a lot of fun. To somewhat I agree. Look, I'll get. Shedeur Sanders was not a one-read RPO. He was a guy, I loved how he continued to look downfield when the first play wasn't there. But Shedeur Sanders, and I really I've liked Shedeur Sanders ever since when we had a live watch party of the spring football game of Colorado 2 years ago. Shedeur Sanders' first year at Colorado, when ESPN covered it, we did a spring game watch party. And right away, Shedeur Sanders not only has the skill and the athletic ability, but he had the intangibles. He had the intelligence. He had the awareness. And he's got a great arm. But even Shedeur Sanders, sometimes you cannot scramble 25 yards and back of the line of scrimmage. He's got to do a better job of some decision making. Get rid of the ball and not get taken down for a 22-yard loss on a sack. I've got no problems with Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders being up there 1 and 2. Either way, do-si-do. But to have Dylan Gabriel that far back of those two guys? No way. No way. Come on, guys. Come on. Son of Sarek, I'm not even sure I would take Sanders in the first round. Woo! No, I would take Sanders. I would take Sanders. Numbskull News has predicted the merger and UConn being asked to join. Holy smokes. Numbskull News with the prediction.
Oh my God!
I made a comment about UConn today on my Twitter page. I'm going to show you here in a second. Not about their football program, but about their hockey program. They're having a really good season. A really good season. Update of 3 days ago. Now, pairwise is for those who are not familiar with college hockey. We're talking Division I here. We're not talking ACHA club hockey. We're talking scholarship Division I, the highest level of college hockey. Pairwise is a computer-formulated way of ranking teams for the NCAA, for the hockey playoffs. So, and it's not always up to date. So this was of 3 days ago. Now there's been some games played since then. And I put down UConn hockey, edge rusher Landon Jackson, great career at Arkansas. That guy kept getting bigger and oh man, he came off the edge. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Anyways, UConn hockey having a great season on the ice and in their box office, as they have been selling lots of tickets this season. So Boston College, Michigan State. My goodness, this is the best Michigan State Spartans hockey team for a few decades. Minnesota, number 3. Western Michigan, and then UConn isn't in the 5 spot. Maine, Denver, Providence, right with them. Boston University, Ohio State. UConn is number 5 in pairwise. But it is the season tickets. Tom DeBay, who's part of the PATC family. What's going on here? National gets it on a punt return. Okay. As Tom DeBay says, UConn hockey coming into the potential on the ice and off, expecting 11,000 or more for today's game in Hartford. But they've been UConn hockey having a really good season. They have a pretty decent program. Okay. So what happens next in the Holy Smokes Theater? It's this. It's the invasion of private equity. That's the drama. That is the straw that is stirring the drink. How exactly does it come in, and how many different levels does it come in, and how many deals are made, and The drama behind all that, I've got no idea. None, zero, zilch. So, but we're going to be covering the story. I'm going to try to give you the peek around the corner. But here, and I've said this a couple times already, PATC, I had no idea that Mr. Big Ten Commissioner Petiti, I had no idea that he's already had a first round of bids on maybe partialing out some sponsorship event type of deals to private equity, making some sort of deal a little bit on the margins. I had no idea that was going on. Who knows what the Big 12's got? I mean, we've heard stories on the Big 12. ACC now going to be able to go up to the PE dinner table and try to figure out some deals as they have struck a deal of stability for the next 4 or 5 years. So that is the story. That's the story. Rock and Rant is in the house. Granite City Brewery. Been there a couple times. Went there for breakfast about a year ago and was very disappointed. But they used to have a really good Cuban sandwich with big, nice chops of jalapenos in it. But I haven't had a lunch or dinner at Granite City for quite a long time. But we did have breakfast about a year ago and was extremely disappointed. Little Italy in Fayetteville, North Carolina, best pizza in America and universe. The meatballs and pasta, dang it all. Manny's downtown Minneapolis, yes. I just haven't been able to get there for a long time. Another place I haven't been to for a long time. I haven't seen Devin Neal get the football yet, Taytown Hawk. I don't know if he's covered the ball. ESPN doesn't even have a box score for this game. I have not seen him get the ball yet. Ollie Gordon had a couple good carries. Is that Jackson Dart? It can't be Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart's, yeah, that's not Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart's for the other team. Anyways, will UConn make the Frozen Four, face Minnesota? Connecticut fan, it could happen. It could happen. It very well could happen. That's not happening, Expedition Greg. That is not happening. No cheeseburger inside the Holy Smokes Theater. No chili cheese dogs inside the Holy Smokes Theater. Steel Austin. No, that doesn't. So does this mean there's nothing UNC will do before August 1st anymore? No, that doesn't mean that. We believe that North Carolina is going to make it perfectly clear in public that ACC is going to have to create strategic partnerships, because that is what they're pushing behind the curtain. They're rattling everyone's cages. UNC, Miami is on board. There's a lot of... No, UNC is... They've been working it, and they're going to continue to work it. Again, people are tired of me talking about it, but This hasn't even begun yet. It hasn't even begun yet. So, never had a steak at Granite City. I've had their beer, obviously, but I haven't had a steak there. Michigan State's this has got to be their best hockey team. It's their best hockey team, Anthony Carlson. Since I don't know when. Okay, we got 11:20 to go in the second quarter. National up 8. I put the line down before the game started. National -3.5. National, I believe, is definitely the favorite in this game. Dylan Gabriel started out first drive. National scored a touchdown and got the 2-point conversion. Um, yeah, we were talking earlier about that chart of the guy from Wolford who went to Wolford. Even though he went to Wolford, he seems to get everything wrong. Talking ACC sports, I was talking about the numbers earlier in the show. A shame because the premise is right, but the numbers are wrong. The ACC media distributions are in the low 30s. Should be some small increase with ACC network additions. Then the brand ad, blah, 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 blah. But the chart that Altamore put out, where there's a $20 million per team average on media rights, it's a useless chart. Back to pass, complete, down to the 6-yard line. Ooh, Mr. Beck is having a game. TCU Horned Frog wide receiver. February 19th, they meet again. Big Ten and the SEC. February 19th in New Orleans, Louisiana. And they're definitely going to be talking about the playoffs and the scheduling agreement. And then a week later, Etienne trying to bounce that outside. He gets clobbered. Absolutely clobbered. The American team in the Senior Bowl is trying to put their first points on the scoreboard. And then a week later, Everyone's going to meet. All the commissioners, Notre Dame, a week later in Dallas, Texas. So we've got important dates going on in February. February 19th and 25, 26, 27, Dallas, Texas. And we will be covering all that as well. This is the first day of a new month. February 1st. We are 19, 18 days away from the February 19th meeting. A lot of stuff going on. We've got the Big 12 is releasing their complete football schedule 3 days from today, February 4th. So we will be covering that. Big 12 releasing their schedule. Second and goal. He gets out of the pocket. Touchdown!
Touchdown! Touchdown!
Jackson Dart.
Touchdown!
Okay. Are they going for 2? Are they going to try to tie this up? Jackson Dart gets out of the pocket, runs for a touchdown. Ole Miss. I have no idea, the Big Lubbock. I do not know how they determine who plays on what team. No idea. Maybe TCU, the Razorbacks, and the Longhorns did not want anything to do with you Red Raiders. What about them apples? The Big Lubbock. Going for 2. Jackson Dart rolling out. I think they got it. It's good. It's a tied up game. I don't know who got that though. Don't know who caught it, but it's all tied up. And we might be playing the mariachi music in the middle of the third quarter. We could be. It's got to be within a 10-point game in the middle of the third quarter, and we play the mariachi. Okay, what else is going on here in college football? We talked about Chris Ash being named the new defensive coordinator. New defensive coordinator of Notre Dame Fighting Irish as Al Golden moves on to the Cincinnati Bengals in the NFL. A lot of college football is being taken up here on February 1st. A lot of college football games, college basketball games, college basketball games being played all through Saturday. My Gophers have already lost their game, so we got that out of the way. They lost to the Washington Huskies by 3 points. We got an article here from Front Office Sports. Maybe we'll go through this early next week. California Stanford sports teams. The toll of bi-coastal travel on new ACC members, California and Stanford. At California Stanford, sports teams have to get used to traveling tens of thousands of miles farther than their final seasons in the Pac-12. Same thing with UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington. Big 12 travel has increased for some. Why hasn't Taj Brooks played? I do not know. I do not know. National needs to get back to work. I tell you what, though. Um, TCU Horned Frog, Jack Beck is sure getting a lot of TV time during the Senior Bowl. Getting a lot of TV time. Where is he going to get drafted this spring? NBA. The NBA is their trade deadline is February 6th. Los Angeles Clippers are trading PJ Tucker, Mo Bamba, and a future second round pick in cash to Utah Jazz for Drew Eubanks and Patty Mills. I'm looking for my Timberwolves to make a trade. I don't know if they can pull it off. The Timberwolves are a second apron team, so it's very difficult for the Timberwolves to pull off a trade. They cannot combine players in a trade. The collective bargaining agreement in the NBA is incredibly complicated. They even figure out the salary cap. They got first apron, second apron. They've got luxury tax. I don't believe the college football is going to go into that realm. Is that Tyler Shuck? I don't know who that is. Anyways, Nationals got the ball, got about 8 yards, second down and 2. I cannot fathom Dillon Gabriel not being drafted in the first round. I find that criminal. To me, that is absolutely bizarre. Dillon Gabriel is not Sam Hartman. Way more Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. What are the quarterbacks in college football that you are most excited to watch for next season? Let me know in the comment section. In fact, we're going to open up the phone lines. We're going to go ahead and open them up. Talk about anything in college football, but let me know what quarterback are you most excited to watch in college football next season. I'll give you mine. I know there's one out there that is, I think is going to be incredibly excited to watch. Caleb Ramirez sent this to me. Nebraska likely to cancel spring game over transfer concerns. The Nebraska spring game, one of the best attended college football and major revenue producers, likely won't be held going forward because of Matt Rule's concern about other teams poaching his players. The word tampering doesn't exist anymore, Rule said Saturday. It's just an absolute free, open, common market, and I don't necessarily want to open up to outside world and have people watch our guys and say, he looks like a pretty good player, let's go get him. First of all, that is true. That is true. Minnesota shut down their spring football game last year. And PJ Fleck basically said the same thing. Why are we showcasing our players when they can get picked at any point? Why are we advertising our guys? So they've shut it down. Now, there were other reasons for Minnesota because we out for like 6 out of the last 7 spring football games. It's been horrific weather to where they had to move it indoors. So Minnesota, it just doesn't work. But Nebraska, where they get 60, 70,000 people to go to the games, that's a lot more difficult decision to make. But it's not going to be just Nebraska. Other programs are going to shut it down as well. You've got injuries. You've got this poaching that is going on constantly until there is some guardrails put up. I think you're going to see the decline of the spring football game. It's going to keep going. This is only the beginning. Nebraska is not going to be, come this spring, Nebraska is not going to be like the only one out there not having a full spring football game for everybody to go and watch. They're going to have scrimmages in spring football, right? There may be one spring game that they'll let the fans come and watch, possibly. I know that they do that at Minnesota, but there ain't going to be a spring football game. Just the way it is. Coos Corner, West Virginia's still going to do a spring game, but Coach Rod said it may be the shortest one in history. You also have, you do have pressure to do something because you do have some sponsorship money. Some of these have charity events connected to them. You don't want to shut down the charities' access. But they're going to be more of a meet and greet, and it ain't going to be like it was. It just isn't. Those days are gone. Maybe they come back if there's some federal carve out or CBA, which I think is completely dead for now, where the players are going to get paid and have health health protections and everything during the spring, and they're actually going to get paid for a spring football game, and maybe you can have a game against another team, but everyone's paid and protected, and maybe it comes back in a large way, but for now it's just going to keep declining. Absolutely. We got a field goal attempt, and it is no good. It stays 8-8.
Call from
Caleb.
Caleb, the floor is yours. Thanks for calling, Mr. Buckeye.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. Thanks for calling, sir. We were watching I don't know what we're watching. What are we watching? We're watching the Senior Bowl. Very important Senior Bowl game. Everything is on the line. Go ahead, sir.
This is about yesterday or a couple of days ago about Big Ten thinking about doing private equity.
Yeah.
I think with them, I think SEC was thinking about it too. They're just not out in public.
I'm sorry. What was that?
I think the SEC is thinking about it too. Probably just not on public lit.
I'm sure they are. Yeah.
And my thinking is, since they're thinking about it, hypothetically, would Florida State and Clemson and some other schools get more if they were in the Big Ten or SEC with private equity?
Would a Florida State or Clemson get more if they were in the Big Ten? I'm sure they would. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know that because I don't know because I got a feeling that the ACC, especially the Big 12, are going to be rolling the dice a little bit more aggressively at the PE table, dinner table, than the Big Ten and SEC. But I don't know that for sure. But overall, Florida State and Clemson would get more revenue being associated in the SEC and the Big Ten. I think that would be correct. But go ahead, sir.
That's maybe one reason they might wait a little bit longer. stay in the courts to see if something escalates somehow with that area. I hope you're trying to understand what I'm trying to say.
The problem, I understand what you're trying to say. And there's a whole bunch of people out there that disagree with me, but I'm going to say this again. There is more incentive now than ever for Florida State and Clemson to leave the courtroom. Because if they remain in that courtroom, themselves and the ACC are going to be unable to sit at the same PE table as the Big 12. They have figured that out. Notre Dame has been, North Carolina has been rattling all the cages. And so I expect, and the reports out there are that people expect eventually, not imminent, but eventually, for Florida State and Clemson to leave the courtroom, to leave the case. Because they cannot get the same, they're not going to be able to get the same PE offers while they're suing the ACC and the ACC is suing them back. Not going to happen.
Yeah. And I know you keep saying that Fox and ESPN don't necessarily want private equity in there because they're fighting that a little bit.
Well,
but
yeah. ESPN doesn't, look, ESPN owns the ACC content into 2036, the distribution content, and they own the Big 12 distribution content, some of it, half of it about, until 2029, 2030. And they just don't want, they're not going to be able to, ESPN is not going to be able to, they're not going to be able to, keep SEC from doing some private equity, some investment, third-party money out there. What ESPN doesn't want to have happen, and Fox on their side of the coin, they don't want the Big Ten and the SEC through private equity start to have a possible short to long-term relationship with big streaming giants that could come on in and blow ESPN and Fox away. Fox and ESPN want to keep their ownership, their investment in those two big conferences. What I think Yormark is going to try to do is he's going to try to take his private equity investments relationship, this strategic partnership, and he wants to have leverage when he goes into the next exclusive negotiation window with Fox and ESPN. ESPN and Fox don't want Sankey and Petiti anywhere near a streaming giant. I happen to believe that if an official, formal scheduling agreement between the SEC and the Big Ten, not just involving the regular season, but also involving some sort of tied connection into the bowl series, bowl games, if that happens, and if the SEC and the Big Ten gets more money, I happen to think their media deals are going to be extended by a couple of years with both Fox and ESPN. Fox and ESPN wants to maintain their SEC Big Ten partnerships. They don't want them getting into private equity to leverage for a streaming giant to get in. But I think that's what Brett Yormark is working on.
I get all that, but in my opinion, it would be to some degree smart for the ESPN and Fox maybe to allow it a little bit so they can have a relationship with those streaming sites so they don't get totally cut off.
Well, they do. For example, Fox, they brought in streaming Peacock, which is owned by NBC. There was talks with Amazon, right? There was. Amazon actually outbid CBS and NBC for a package of Big Ten content. But Kevin Warren and the university presidents were a little bit nervous about Amazon at that time, the exposure that they would give to college football. I don't think that would be a worry anymore. So again, Fox and ESPN is going to have to try to figure out a way to get more. They got TNT coming on in, which eventually could bring Max streaming involved in Big 12 content or ACC content. But back to so I don't think I think you're right. I don't think Fox is allergic to streaming being part of the package. What they don't want is streaming some big Amazon or to be able to take over everything of Big Ten content. Yeah. That's what they don't want that to happen. While Brett Yormark is going to try to put himself in a position and his Big 12 institutions to say, yeah, we'll Fox and ESPN, they better give us what we think we're valued, because if not, we've got this partnership and we can easily, meet somewhere with a big streaming giant and see if we can get more.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, you have a good rest of your day.
You got it. Thank
now.
you, Kayla Ramirez, Mr. Buckeye. Appreciate the call, my man. We got 1:10 to go in the first half. I'm going to be taking about a 10-minute break at halftime. I'm going to be coming back. I hope you join us. We're going to open up the phone lines for the entire second half. You can talk about college football, anything you want to talk about. American 8, National 8, Ollie Gordon in the backfield. He's going out. He catches a pass. He gets tackled. Oh, boy. I hope he's okay. I hope he's okay. He got ripped down. The Big Lubbock is still trying to figure out the rosters. There's a VT helmet on the defense for the American and a wide receiver VT on the National. I'm very confused. Well, this is how it feels to be the fat guy from Minnesota in a constant state of confusion. I have no idea how they got the rosters. Don't know how they did it. And they should do what high schools do, 7-on-7, O-line, D-line, limited, light 20 minutes of limited contact with different schools. I think NE is talking about the spring football games. The big spring football games are going away. What is funny for me is there is a couple Nebraska Cornhuskers on X who made it a big deal last year that Minnesota was shutting down. There's picked off, interception in the end zone. Oh my. The American has picked off. It remains 8-8, 30 seconds to go in the first half. Reese Senior Bowl. What I was saying, a couple of Nebraska guys gave me and gave Gopher fans a hard time that Minnesota was basically shutting down their spring football game and saying that Minnesota was not serious about spring football. And my retort back to them, this was last spring, I said spring football is not going to be as big as other teams are going to follow. Well, suddenly it's Nebraska that is in the news saying, yeah, we're not going to have the same spring football as we've had in the past. Big defensive play there. The American is trying to get a quick score, 25 seconds to go, off that pick six. Great defensive coverage. Ty Felton's in there. Maryland receiver. Big 12 needs to invite the University of Toronto. Oh! Fumble! Possible fumble. Pick it up! There is a flag on the field. Was that an incompletion? Was that a fumble? The Buckeyes in Minnesota are tied 1-1 in a second period women's hockey game. Well, let me show you something here. I talked about it yesterday. Interesting news out of Ann Arbor. Interesting news out of Ann Arbor. Michigan is looking at possibility of adding a women's D1 hockey program. The Michigan's women's hockey could begin by 2026. Tyler Q reported, and according to a feasibility study, the addition of women's hockey at the University of Michigan could lead to a new arena, either for the men's team or both programs. That is up at Flug Empire on my account. It's a great article. It talks about the options that Michigan has. And they talk about Minnesota. Are they going to do what Minnesota did? Minnesota has a hockey arena for men's and women. But then again, Minnesota puts more money in the hockey than anybody else does. But again, if that did happen, if Michigan adds on a women's hockey program, Jackson Dart gets some yards. The American looking possibly to get in field goal range. If they did add, that means Wisconsin, Ohio State, Penn State, Minnesota, Michigan would all have women hockey programs, and there'd be the Big Ten would need one more women's hockey program to form a Big Ten women's hockey conference. Right now, the Minnesota Golden Gopher, Ohio State, and Wisconsin, they play in the WCHA Women's Hockey Conference, a long-time hockey conference. Penn State Women's Hockey plays with some Northeastern women hockey programs in their own conference. But if Michigan decides to have a women's hockey program, then you have this situation out there where you know that the Big Ten would love to form a women's hockey program. And I can't imagine the Big Ten wanting, I don't think the Big Ten, I can't imagine any other Big Ten program looking to add a women's hockey program. Especially in this day and age, right? Of what we're going through right now. So if the Big Ten really wanted to have a men's hockey conference, and they finally got it. After Penn State added a program, they got 6 men's hockey programs, and then they took Notre Dame as an affiliate. If the Big Ten wanted to have a conference, they may have to take an affiliate. If Michigan decides to do it, the Big Ten might have to take an affiliate. And Notre Dame doesn't have a women's hockey program. So if you go, if you look through all the programs that have a women's hockey program, there might be a possibility, maybe, possibly, of the Big Ten knocking on the door and say, would you like to be joining our women's hockey program? The Big Ten doesn't have many affiliate programs in their athletic conference. They've got Notre Dame's men's hockey, John Hopkins in women's and men's lacrosse. That's it. But if Michigan creates a women's hockey program, will the Big Ten be looking at adding a women's affiliate hockey program? And if they are, who would that be? Just some thoughts. Some thoughts that, okay, we've got halftime of the American and the National. It's all tied up at 8. They don't have a women's hockey program. It would probably have to be an established women's hockey program. I don't think, look, the only reason that Michigan is looking to add a women's hockey program, even in this era of instability in Title IX and this rev share and limiting, because Michigan's got a whole bunch of money. And by the way, it's been going on for years that there's been pressure on Michigan to add a women's hockey program from the people internally at Michigan. I mean, so that is why there's a chance for no other programs out there are going to be adding women's hockey. Not in this day and age. Not right now. Maybe for a few years from now. So it's got to be somebody that is already established. Syracuse, they do have a women's hockey program. That is correct. Anyways, it's interesting to talk about. I will be back here in about 10 minutes. I hope you join us for the second half of this most important Senior Bowl game. American 8, National 8, Senior Bowl watch party. I'll be back in 10 minutes. I hope to see you back here as well. Until then, take care of yourself. I'll see you in 10 minutes. Thanks for popping on in. Appreciate it, guys. Sorry I'm late. I did get some information. Jalen Milroe's in the game. Pass completion. I'll go ahead and say this right now. I'll give you a little tease. There's only 9 people watching right now. The second half of our Senior Bowl. I'm probably going to put this into a early peak Cloak and Dagger members episode only. Harvey with the big run. UCF Harvey for the American. A big run. I'm probably going to put this in a early peak Cloak and Dagger episode. The reason why I was late was in a discussion. Somebody has just notified me that we should be hearing some news coming out of the Big 12 in the next couple of weeks about the possibility of making some tweaks to their football schedule. Oh, sack! Down goes Milroe. Holy smokes. My goodness. Somebody missed a block. There's going to be a tweak to the football schedule, not for 25, but for 26 and beyond. I think we are getting to the point where you're going to see some announced agreement between the Big 12 and I don't know if it's going to be with both media partners, but anyways, where they're going to play some non-traditional. We talked about this months ago, that this was all in the works. We had a big live show on September 9th. We gave about 3 big news items out there, and they're all happening. It looks like in the next couple of weeks, you're going to be hearing some reports on the Big 12 tweakage of their football schedule for 2026 going forward. This is a little bit of I would be shocked. Now, I'm not saying this part is going to be a part of the announced tweak. I think it will be. But I would be shocked if in 2026, Big 12 doesn't play a conference game on Wednesday night, the night before Thanksgiving. The Big 12 will be playing a conference game Thanksgiving Eve. I would be absolutely shocked. So I'm just going to give that little bit of tease out there. It looks like we have another missed field goal. National 8, American 8. And again, I think we're going to be hearing something in the next couple of weeks. Not months, but weeks. So, forget everyone else in a circle. Aldi Gordon, MVP. Did Aldi Gordon make a big run? We're not getting, I'm not getting a, ESPN is not offering, maybe the NFL Network is. Is the NFL Network offering a
How fitting. Getting knocked out in the title match, followed by some adversity, then training, sweating, bleeding.
I gotta get that off. Yeah, I don't see anything here. I'm not getting a box score for this game. Can't find a box score. Oh boy. Hmm. Mm-mm-mm. It's the first ever watch party that I have done. And how many watch parties have we done on this channel for over 3 years? Probably 100, at least 100 watch parties, which is crazy. But this is the first one. Of course, this is a all-star game, Senior Bowl game. First one we don't have a box score for. Or I cannot find a box score. I'm getting shut out everywhere. Helmer Hennison. Which formerly PAC team in the Big Ten do you expect to be the greatest threat after Oregon? When it comes to football, USC. I mean, Washington has a great culture, great football fans. But, you know, USC's got an advantage when it comes to recruiting, the backyard, the front yard. I think they're getting all on board. USC. And then Washington, and then UCLA. Now, some people would say Washington in front of USC because, you know, of recent history. And I don't really have a good argument against it. I just think USC, maybe I'd have them rated ahead of Washington because of the advantages in recruiting. What do you think, Helmer? Let me know. Thank you so much for your super chat. I do appreciate your generosity once again. Thank you so very much. Purgatory. Dante's Inferno Purgatory. 8-8 might be the final score. Who got knocked out? I don't know. Who did get knocked out? Who did get knocked out? We got an 8-8 ball game here. Nationals got the football. Oh, he's getting his head taken off. The defensive lines are taking over this game. The offensive lines are struggling. And I guess that's to be expected. Because the offensive lines, they have to gel with communication. Defensive line can pretty much just pin the ears back and go for the quarterback. And that is what's going on right now. We are going to open up the phone lines. Hopefully it works. Now, it did work for Caleb Ramirez, who called earlier. But before I went off at halftime, something happened to my Google voice. So I'm not sure what's going to happen when somebody calls in. Hopefully it works. I'm just going to tell you right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't work, unfortunately. So the phone lines are open. You can call us and talk about college football, anything in college football. Not much time for the offenses to gel. Absolutely. Stormy Cyclone is correct. Is correct. Again, if you're just joining us, the Senior Bowl is being played on the NFL Network. The Reese's Senior Bowl. 8-8. And I have no idea, as of right now, who would be regarded as the MVP. No idea. It doesn't look like Dylan Gabriel is going to get back in the game. He looked good in his first drive. Ollie Gordon had a couple carries. He looked good. Jack Beck, the TCU Horned Frog, he had some good plays out there. Jackson Dart had a running score for a touchdown. Don't know who would be considered the MVP of this game. But we are getting very close to playing the mariachi music. In traditions of PATC Watch Party, if the game's within 10 points in the middle of the third quarter, we're going to be playing the mariachi. Riley Leonard is being interviewed. First, some hot chocolate. Thank you, Kerry Golden Nose, for the super chat, for your generosity. Thank you so very much. Maybe Kerry Golden Nose is having some hot chocolate on Neptune Beach right now. 70 degrees. He's probably wearing a Minnesota Golden Gophers sweatshirt. By the way, I haven't seen any Gophers out there. What's going on? We got 4 guys in the game. I haven't seen one Gopher out there. Not one. Not one. Thank you, Kerry Golden Nose. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it so much for your generosity. The Dante's Inferno Purgatory. The D-Lions can just pin their ears back, and turn the dogs loose. Riley Leonard had a great season for Notre Dame, transfer quarterback, coming from Duke. Gets the Irish to the national championship game. Where does Riley Leonard get drafted? Now, I'm going to put up another poll. Here. Maybe I won't. We'll wait on that.
Call from
Stormy Cyclone.
Stormy Cyclone. Thanks for calling, Mr. Cyclone. The phone lines are yours. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I'd like to sit back and give you a bunch of crap, but I just thought I'd better call to check out all the information that's been going on the last week. I mean, like you say, holy smokes. Just curious, you were talking about the NCAA, a couple things that were entered in last night as far as some new stuff. And I mean, how can you even keep track of this shootout anymore? It seems like news today is just like it's old news tomorrow. You know what I mean? It overlaps almost. And I mean, what road are we heading down in this deal? I don't understand. It's like an arms race. You know what I mean? It's every time they.
So I'm going to go ahead and say this. I think I can. I had a discussion with somebody in the business of reporting, and he gave me a great analogy. He said, Greg, it's like, and he wasn't like, he just used Iran as an example, right? So please don't anybody say Greg's the beautiful people of Iran, the Persians. Okay, so everyone calm down. I'm just giving an example of what a reporter told me. It's like living in Iran, going to buy some bread, okay? And it costs such and such amount of money. So you pay for the bread, you take the bread home, and a week later you go buy some more bread and the prices have tripled on you. Okay? That's what it's like right now in football. In everything. In college football. Like what you're reporting now gets tripled a month later. What the cost of competing now gets tripled a month later. The lawsuits, they triple up a month later. It never ends. It's quickening. It's getting larger. It's like an avalanche, for God's sake. That's why I've been coming on here lately, Stormy Cyclone, and my answer to everyone's questions is the following. I have no idea what the hell is going on. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I just never seen the state of the game like this before. I mean, college football, to me, it used to be fun. Anymore, it's just about a money grab, and then if you're not getting your fair share, then you throw a lawsuit against somebody. And I mean, how do you stop this avalanche? I guess that would be a good word to describe it. I unless, like you were talking the other day about a government carve out,
yes.
And I just don't see any other way to stop this.
Yep.
I don't, I don't really know. You get one thing established, next thing you know, somebody's taking a jab at that, and then that leads to the next jab, and and somebody has got to step in on this deal. I mean, for the state of the sport, it's just. I mean, I realize I'm getting older, but it's just not fun anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, the game is just like a retrieve almost, just to get a break from it. You know what I'm saying? It's just that's the only refreshing part of the whole thing. Everything. I mean, the strain of these ADs, the coaches, and universities, and the commissioners, it's just unbearable. I don't. It just cannot be fun. I mean, I don't know what they're getting paid. The ADs, they're definitely earning their money's worth. I guarantee you in this deal. And it's not about recruiting anymore. It's how do you salvage to get away from this lawsuit, that lawsuit. I just wondered. How do we stop this? And I think you got the right thing going on there with your talk about the government carve out, because I don't see any other way on this deal. I just don't. The Wild West doesn't even describe it. I mean, it's just like there's no sheriff even. It's just you shoot anybody you want.
Yeah. I've always wanted a CBA. Right, the very first episode I ever did on this channel, it was about having a CBA. But I've given up. I had a talk with somebody. This person was connected to the University of Minnesota, and I was on my soapbox. Right? Oh, it's got to be a CBA, federal carve out, blah blah blah. There's so many things negative to it, and I still believe that. But I was on my soapbox, and after I got done talking on my soapbox, the guy said, "Greg, even if you get a CBA, the state laws are these politicians in these states are getting involved in the universities. Like the CBA would probably get destroyed because there's state laws that are." So the guy said to me, we're going to need a federal carve out. We're going to need an antitrust exemption, just like these other professional leagues. Because it's the only way to supersede all these different state laws. We got to have it. So that is one that when he talked about the different state laws, and I finally threw up my hands and said, okay, all right, let the federal government come on in. As terrible as an idea that is for me, I think that's our only hope, Stormy Cyclone, in saving the sport that we love. To put some guardrails on it so we as the fans can watch some competition, the student athletes can get compensation and have some protections, and the universities and the conferences and the governing body to have some authority to put down rules and have enforcement of those rules. What do you think, Stormy?
Oh, I gotta agree. I mean, like I said, the only part I enjoy is, watching the games anymore. But, well, me and you, I'm not sure everybody, but we all know, not everybody knows, but most of us know what's going on behind the scenes, and it's just not fun.
No.
And I don't know about fun, even it's just not sustainable. It's just, that's all I really had to say.
Okay,
I just wanted to get it out in the open.
Before you go, can I ask you a couple questions?
Absolutely.
Now, before the season last year in the Big 12, I predicted the Cyclones to come in third place in the Big 12. Okay? I remember. I did pretty damn good with that, right?
All right. I got to admit, you did all right.
Yeah, I did all right. I mean, I didn't, they got to the championship game. I was wrong, but I did. I had them further than a lot of other people did, right? What about next year's Stormy Cyclone? Where should I have the Cyclones finishing at the end of the season, at the end of the 2025 season? You've got to give me some Cyclone insight right now on this show so you can lead me. Don't lead me astray, but you can lead me to the promised land. Where should I have the Cyclones in 25?
Well, that's, in the Big 12, we never know, but Iowa State is one of them teams that, they're going to be good every year. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But they're also one of these teams that, when you expect them, they're going to go and polish off everybody. They have, 3 fumbles to start the third quarter, like in the championship game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All I can really tell you is, they lost 2 1,000-yard receivers and, Noel and Higgins. And, the running backs are good. Rocco Beck, of course, is a gamer.
Yes.
The thing that I'm most concerned with is their defense, which was always top. They're either behind Texas or Oklahoma or what. They were either second, third all the time. And last year it was just like, but a lot of that was because of injuries. When you play walk-ons and third stringers, 11 different linebackers, you playing linebacker, it's pretty tough to be good. And, some of these will be back and some of them, 2 or 3 of them are just coming off injuries. So actually their weak point last year might be their strong point this year, and I think the wide receiver room is definitely going to take a step back, even though we got some good guys coming in, the UCF guy and, just a couple other ones that picked up, but I expect the defense to be better and maybe the offense to step back a little bit, maybe. But the minute I say that, it could be the opposite. But I'm thinking, they're going to be in the top 4 or 5, but they could win that in being in the top 4 or 5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I do not pick them just because of your record. I know I give you a lot of crap, and I'm still going to do that regardless of where they finish.
Just another example why this channel is the most unpopular college football YouTube channel in the country. Nobody wants me on their side.
I just want to say one more thing. Campbell, he's got that program with the culture and the pit. He knows what he's doing. They're never going to, the minute I say that, they're never going to be at the bottom. You know what I mean? But you never know, but they're going to be good every year, but I just don't know if they're going to be good enough to get over the top. You know what I'm saying? And you had them pegged pretty close last year. I got them picked 3rd, and they got a chance to win it. They had all them things you said, but I'm still going to give you crap. But anyway, that's about all I got to say. I think their defense is going to be much better because I think their linebacker crew, with what they got coming back from injuries and other pickup, and their line too. They lost I don't know, Dominic Orange, the big citrus they call him. I think he was a player. I don't know if he graduated or not. I guess I didn't follow that close, but they picked up some linemen. But their linebackers should be better, and that's what all I'm hoping for, So
all right,
I'll let you go on that point. Just thank you for letting me chat with you, and
I appreciate it. Stormy Cyclone, call again.
All right, thank you, Greg.
You got it, buddy. Thank you, sir. Great call.
All right. Bye.
Call from
Steele Austin.
I did not get the name. Who's calling here?
Hey, Greg, Steele Austin.
Oh, Steele Austin. Thanks for calling, sir. I do appreciate it. The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure to talk to Greg the Gold.
Greg the Gold. Greg the Gold is nowhere to be found right now.
I have all the faith in the world in Greg the Gold.
Okay. You must be halfway into a 6-pack right now for saying that, but go ahead. I like it. I like it. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I wanted to kind of just talk through this with you for a second and just get your insight as far as the college basketball angle. The thing that's kind of piqued my interest is when you started to kind of give us the peek around the corner about teams that were, I guess, how you kind of put it, entering the Holy Smokes Theater as far as like the SEC, considering, Kansas is on their radar now, and basketball schools that, I know are starting to invest in football, like UNC, obviously, but are traditional basketball powers. And I guess when I've started to kind of think that through, we've always been, we always know that 80% of all or more of all the athletic department revenues are driven by football, and 20% or less are driven by basketball. So football is always driving the train. But I guess now that I'm seeing or hearing from you and others that the Power Two are starting to, consider some of these basketball powers for their future roadmap. I guess what I'm wondering from your just wanted to get your thoughts on is it the way to look at that? Is it one, in my mind, it's one of two things. It's either college basketball is a massively untapped source of revenue for the leagues in the sense that they see, kind of like Brett Yarmark, that the men's basketball tournament eventually can provide their leagues a lot more money than they're currently getting from it? Or is it that, hey, we've exhausted the amount of money we're going to be able to tap into from the football side with all of these big brand football schools, and now we're just trying to maximize on our opportunity with that 20% of the revenue on the basketball side, and how can we drive even more of that to our leagues? And that's all I was wondering, is if maybe you kind of have some thoughts on that you can kind of shed some insight.
My thoughts on that is it's not about football being all tapped out. It's about Brett Yormark and Greg Sankey believing there's more value to get out of the basketball product. And when I talked about Kansas, again, I had a bunch of YouTube channels completely misreport what I said on the show, even though I said it clearly and slow, and everyone should have been able to understand. The SEC has not talked to Kansas. There's been no first-party talks. It's not allowed. It's not happening. I also said that I was told that if the SEC goes to 20, the next time they expand, if they go past 2, that Kansas would be in the mix. I did not report Kansas to the SEC like the Monty Show reported that I said. I didn't even come close to that. But Kansas is one of those like markets, basketball crazy market. There's money in there. The institution, it would be a virgin state for the SEC, but only if SEC goes to 20 in their next expansion. And if that expansion is delayed, and it is going to be delayed, and they're going to be in the mix. They're going to be. That doesn't mean they're going to get it, but they're going to be in the mix. A couple things in regards to the chatter behind the curtain when it comes to the SEC. They desperately want North Carolina and Virginia. Period. End of story. Put a big period on that. And if they have to bring along something else to disconnect North Carolina, then they might have to do that. But it's going to be North Carolina and Virginia. And maybe, if they decide to go to 19 to 20, there's going to be a handful of schools that are going to be in the mix. You're going to have your Florida State. You're going to have your Clemson. And right. I think you're going to have a whole lot of people believe Kansas will be in there because of the basketball, because of it's a virgin market. Like, have you ever been to a Big 12 championship tournament in Kansas, like Kansas City, like that whole, there is untapped money there that the SEC does not, they don't have. That is something that would interest the SEC. They're looking at expanding their footprint. They're looking at universities that can help, states that can help bring in more students. Now, the demographics of the state of Kansas won't help in that regard. So I believe that a lot of people believe that Kansas would be in the mix. Would they get the tap on the shoulder? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to at all misquote what you've said in the past or anything like that.
You didn't.
I'm just trying to understand that angle because when I think of like Carolina and Virginia and Kansas, even though I know both Kansas and Carolina are investing heavily in football, with Carolina bringing in Belichick and Kansas renovating their stadium and all that, at their core, they're basketball powerhouses and have been for a long time. So I just was trying to understand that revenue angle, like how they look at it. And I get what you're saying. They're new. They want to plant the flag in those states. Those are new virgin markets. That makes sense. I just was curious if that's like a real, if the basketball angle is a real. If we're not thinking about this right, there's a whole lot more money than maybe we realize to tap into from the basketball side of things. But
yeah,
that's all I was curious about.
Hold on a second. I got something screwed up with my computer here. Hold on. Again, it's, the SEC may not expand to 20, right? They may never expand to 20, or they maybe take another 15 years, or I think they're going to go to 18 eventually, and I think they're going to be, no doubt, they're going to be targeting North Carolina, and probably Virginia that comes with it. And this is another understated situation about the SEC. Their last so many editions, those universities have also had to jump over this bar of academics. You look at Missouri, it was able to jump over the bar. Texas A&M was able to jump over the bar. Texas was able to jump over the bar. Of course, they've been going after these AAU institutions. Oklahoma would be the exception, but Oklahoma was going to come with Texas regardless, right? So North Carolina, Virginia, and then maybe Kansas, but these presidents at these SEC institutions, they like to rub elbows with. They're not a whole lot different than the Big Ten university presidents. So they're also looking in that direction. So keep in mind on that as well.
One other question, and then I'll let somebody else use up the airtime. But it also seems kind of like Sankey and the SEC and ESPN have been really focused on building a fence around their southeast footprint.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering from your perspective, I know that the Big has been really interested in wanting to get into that especially the Florida market.
Yeah.
How much do you think that the ESPN and the SEC are going to be focused on playing defense and keeping the big out of their footprint and keeping Fox out of there?
I mean, and that could play into, that could play into the 19th and 20th school being Florida State and Clemson, right? That could happen. So, but they can't. I mean, they're not going to be able to. If the Big Ten wants into the South, they're going to go into the South because the SEC is not. They're not interested in playing defense to the point where they're going
They'll take Miami, for example.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to sit there and sabotage their potential growth just to keep the Big Ten from growing in the South. They're not going to go to 24 teams and just have all the FBS Southern schools, Georgia Tech, Miami, Florida State, Clemson. They're not going to do that. So if the Big Ten really wants in, they're going to get in. But part of the examination that SEC has to do is think about, I don't know, what happens to the Big Ten value if they pick up a Florida State, if they pick up a Clemson. So that might play a big part in SEC deciding to expand with them. But their first targets is North Carolina and Virginia because that is what they want.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Great stuff as always, Greg.
You got
Love your show, man. Thanks so much for all you do.
You got it. Appreciate it. Call again, sir.
You bet. Have a good one.
You too. What do we got here? What did Tyler Shuck just do? Huh? We got some points. National put up some points. 19-8. 19-8 National. Holy smokes. Again, pre-game, I put the line at -3.5 National. I don't know who you're talking about, Paulie Walnuts. I don't know who Sam is. No idea who you're talking about. I'm an Ohio State fan, diehard, vouching for Sam, even though he's a Michigan fan. I don't know who Sam is. And I'm not sure. I don't think I've been attacking a person named Sam. I don't know what you're talking about, Paulie Walnuts. I will pay respect to him, but I don't know who the heck you're talking about. Nathan, I don't know. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I appreciate the question, but people are going to misinterpret if I go down that rabbit hole. I'm not saying Kansas is going to the SEC. I did not report that. They're not talking. But I think they're going to be... Ja Joyner. What did Ja Joyner just do? Sack! Gopher! Ja Joyner! Down goes the quarterback.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
And for that, we are playing the mariachi music. Ja Joyner, the Gopher sack machine. Ja Joyner. Corner having to defend Greg on X. There is. Now, there was a time where Florida State and Clemson, where we had the odds of going to the Big Ten higher than going to the SEC, whatever, but it was complete speculation. We announced it, and then a few weeks later.
Call from.
There was a time.
Is this Rick?
It is.
Okay, hold on for just 1 second. But then a few weeks later, I made this big thing where I gotta go to the sports book to rip down those odds because now we got real information. And then that's when I went into this whole Florida State and Clemson are not they're not the selections for the SEC and the Big Ten. Petiti and Sankey went out of the Holy Smokes Theater. So, you got those clowns on X. Again, that's why it's like I can't even have fun with speculating. Not reporting, but speculating, because people take that speculation as reporting. But then when I did report accurately, as you know, Coos Corner, you and I talked about it behind the curtain. Coos Corner had all the information as well. That the chatter behind the curtain, they knew for sure that Florida State and Clemson were not going to be targeted by the SEC and the Big Ten. None of that was happening. But those same people that were promising Florida State had an invitation to the Big Ten for over a year. We called them out. People at War Chant. So we reported the correct information. This genetics faction, again, had it all wrong. And again, but they turned it into they had it right and it's unbelievable. Those people are completely delusional. And I'll say this. The Florida State money perch, and I'm going to do this on our money show, he's taking the L. He got a whole bunch of that story correct, but he did not think that Florida State would bend the knee. He thought they would get out into the Big 12. He's taking the L. I got a whole email, not directed to me, but one of my associates. I'm going to read on Monday. So grown adults, functioning grown adults, can take an L on a report that they put out there that they gotten wrong. Functioning adults can do that. But genetics and that clown Tony Altomare, genetics hasn't gotten anything right that he's reported on, quote unquote, for a decade. And he hasn't taken one L. But yet he goes around and he's giving L's to people who are speculating on things, who are just talking, not reports. I tell you, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me that genetics is a clown. What bothers me is there are really good, smart people out there that falls for his stuff every single day. In fact, almost an entire message board fell for him. I put out a couple of days ago all these tweets and comments that Mr. Genetics put out that were completely wrong, and he knew it was wrong. It's not like when I say something I'm wrong and I go, oh, sorry, I'm taking the L on it. He knows it's wrong. He knows he's just putting stuff out there. He led a whole fan base on War Chant to believe that Florida State had an invitation at hand. Do you know how many reporters reached out to that dingbat and told them to shut up? Do you know how many conversations were held in bars in Tallahassee where boosters were saying this guy is a joke because Florida State alumni were calling boosters saying this genetics guy is saying that we got an invite. Isn't this exciting? And then the booster or somebody in the administrator had to tell them, no, it's wrong. Don't listen to that joke genetics. People don't understand this guy caused so much crap within the Seminole fan base. There were Seminole, Rick, I apologize. Just give me another moment. There were so many Seminole people who reached out to me. That's why I went on this blitz about him, about lying to these people, lying to them, knowingly lied. And then at the end of the day, you see how he doesn't play it like, oh, I got it wrong, I'm sorry. He says, well, I told you the Big Ten was going to stay at 18. I told you, just like he says, I told you that USC was going to the Big Ten. That's why you were part of the Los Angeles Report, the front page of the LA Times, because you were completely wrong. And the guy who wrote the article was making fun of you, genetics. You moron. When you are making completely things up, if you want to make things up, fine. Oh, go ahead. But when you string along these fan bases and you knowingly know that you do not know what you're talking about, that you don't talk to anybody, you don't work the phones, you don't try to get the best information, you're a clown. And then when you get things wrong all the time and you never take an L, and you're making things up. You're making things up that other people are saying and reporting. When you steal data from Wild Ute and use it on your stupid X account and you get called out on it and you don't say sorry. You've never said sorry. You've never taken the L. You are a clown. But the people who follow him, serious people, and I could name some names right now. I mean, wake up. Wake up. Holy. Just because he's telling you something that you want it to be true doesn't make it true. This guy's the biggest clown on X. Absolutely the biggest clown on X. Get it through your heads. Rick, the floor is yours. What score do we got here?
8 more points.
What am I? 19-16. Holy smokes. Go ahead, sir. The floor is yours. Thanks for your patience, Rick.
All right. Thank you. I just want to talk a little bit, or I guess if we can, get some information on this upcoming meeting on the 19th.
Yeah.
Now, they're going to be talking about AQs, right? Automatic qualifiers.
Yes, they're going to be talking about that.
That'll be part of it. And then will they also be talking about the mini playoff? I call it that for lack of a better name. The qualifying rounds for the CFP, the Big Ten.
Are they going to be talking about playing games and stuff like that?
About whether or not they're going to go forward with the hypothetical, right? Cancellation of the Big Ten championship game, going to the winner of the conference is number 1, and then 2 plays number 7, and
yeah, the playing games. I mean,
the playing games.
I don't know if they'll have conversations in around that. Because, this is this is a meeting between the Big Ten and the SEC, and, I mean, are they going to talk with each other and say, okay, we can both do 4 automatic qualifiers, and by the way, we can both do playing games, blah. I don't know if they'll get that deep in discussions, but I do not know.
Okay. But they are talking about scheduling agreements.
Yes. That's going to be part of it. Yep.
And will that be for 1 or 2 games per year?
Oh, what do you mean 1 or 2 games?
Would they schedule 1 SEC versus Big Ten game per year, or 2 SEC versus
team?
Big Ten?
Per team? If they do a scheduling agreement, it's going to be many games for a season. It's going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's going to be many of them. It's not going to be just a couple. But whatever they agree to, though, I would highly doubt. I don't think the Big Ten, for example, like other people are reporting, that the Big Ten is going to go from 9 conference games to 8 conference games. I think that is completely out of the question. But there's going to be many, if this happens, a formal agreement that could bump up the pay for both conference from their media partners, I think it's going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, something like that. Not just 1 or 2 games.
Well, would the Big Ten leverage that agreement to force the SEC to 9 games per year in conference?
I don't. There's been some reports that the Big Ten would like the SEC to go to 9, but I don't think. I don't think that's going to stop the scheduling agreement if the SEC doesn't do that. But that's
okay.
Just,
that's the answer I was looking for.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think as long as the Big Ten believes they're getting the compensation to do this, I think they're willing to pull the trigger on it. But then again, what if Fox says, okay, we'll do this, we'll pay you X amount of money, all is good, but we need you, the Big Ten, to extend the current media contract for a couple more years beyond the current deadline. Now, does the Big Ten balk at that? I do not know.
Okay, well, we'll stand by and wait a couple of weeks and see what they have to say.
Yep.
Thanks.
You got it. Appreciate it. Thank you. Great call, sir. I lost my soundboard. Things are going haywire. Thank you so very much. Great call, sir. Like always, Rick does a fantastic job. You just said they had third-party talks, if I recall. Yes, they did. Now, the Florida State money perch predicted, after talking to other people, he threw up his arms and said, Florida State ain't going back to the ACC. We can't get into the Big Ten. We can't get into the SEC. So him and a few other people thought that eventually Florida State would make this big deal to go to the Big 12. The Florida State money perch was wrong. He was wrong. And he wrote a big email that he was wrong. He took the loss. He was wrong. I mean, what else? I mean, but see, the Florida State money perch has said a whole bunch of things in this story, starting on December 26, 2022, that has been absolutely correct. But in the end, he was wrong he didn't think Florida State was going to bend the knee. He thought that by hook or by crook, they were going to get out. And they weren't going to go to the Big Ten and the SEC. And he didn't think they'd go independent, so the Big 12 was the last option. Somehow that turned into, Greg predicted Florida State to the Big 12. And again, it's just like, it doesn't matter for a certain section of people out there who are absolutely delusional. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter when you say it. It doesn't matter. I mean, think about this. In 2022, I broke out. I was very fortunate. The story landed in my lap. I was very fortunate to break the USC talking to the Big Ten. March, April, May, June, going into June, the Big Ten Conference, the legal counsel for Kevin Warren followed me 9 different times on Twitter. Other stuff happened that I'm unable to talk about. All that information was given to the Los Angeles Times, to USC 247, to Minnesota 247. All during that time, people were raking me over the coals, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. People were saying Greg is wrong. Greg doesn't know what he's talking about, but I knew we had this story, right? And USC 247 figured out, after I showed them some stuff, they figured out that we had this story. And they started doing podcasts of this. Now, during this time, this moron, Genetics, for 3 months, using bad language, calling me all sorts of names on X, was just railing against me. This is not going to happen. USC's too far away. The travel, USC has no interest. There is no talks. I have shown many of those tweets during that time. On June 30th, when it became official that USC and UCLA were going to the Big Ten, Genetics on that day said, on his X account, said, well, okay, USC is going to the Big Ten, but it's part of a Super League, a one Super League conference that's going to be happening in a couple years. That's what his statement was. He could never admit that he was completely wrong. The Los Angeles Times called me up through a connection that I have in Kansas City, a reporter there, and said, we want to do a whole story of you breaking that story and the PJ Flex story of a few years before that. And so they did 4 separate interviews with me. During one of those interviews, Brady McCullough, the guy who wrote the article that ended up in the front page, said, you know what, I want to include this Genetics guy on X because he was going against you the whole time. I said, go ahead, go for it. We laughed about it. We chuckled about it. It was fun. So Genetics gets put into the article. It gets written up. It goes crazy on digital. They decided to move it to the sports page, to the front page of the LA Times. I've got copies of it. I got a copy of it right to my left, right here. I can show it to you. Genetics takes that whole event and he's portraying on X saying, he just said it last week. Go ahead, look at his account. Genetics says, I got USC to the Big Ten correct. If you are that delusional, if you are trashing somebody for 3 months to the point where a Los Angeles writer has to include you into the story, where he laughs about you, where national reporters are laughing about this guy, if you are that delusional to now say, I got that story right, then you can make yourself believe that you got every story right, which he does constantly. Remember, he's the guy who said that the Pac-12 wasn't going to get poached by the Big 12. He got that. He completely forgot about it. Genetics railed against Oregon Ducks fans because he kept telling them over and over and over and over and over and over again that they were not going to the Big Ten because Tony Altomare was telling them. The day before it became official, I put this post out. Genetics put out there that Oregon is not going to the Big Ten, and it never made any sense. There were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Oregon Duck fans that Genetics had to block on X. And Genetics makes believe that he got that story correct. He's making believe he got the Florida State story correct. He just makes believe. But the worst part about it is he lies about what the rest of us say. He just lies. There's nothing there. That's why I say he's not really here. Anyways, that's enough of that. But it's even more than I can even talk about. If any one of you, if any one of you has the fortunate chance to run into a national college football reporter at some sort of event at your institutions, just bring up the name genetics. Just bring it up. Just bring it up, and you'll get your answer. You'll get your answer. Okay, that's enough of that. And that's why I cannot, Anyways, Coos Corner, you do a great job. Appreciate it. Mountaineer, Coos Corner. Best YouTube channel out there. Coos Corner, College Football Mafia, Big Ten Ted. A lot of great shows out there. Genetics is like John Cena. You can't see him. Yeah, your Royal Rumble is tonight. Who's going to win the Royal Rumble? It better not be CM Punk. It better not be CM Punk. I'm going to be booing if it's CM Punk. There it is, CM Punk. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Better not be CM Punk. I will go nuclear. 19-16. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot a football game was on. 2 minutes and 32 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. 15-yard line. Offsides. Is that on my jaw joiner? No. Maybe that was illegal motion. Offsides on the offense. The jaw joiner caused that. Woohoo! Number 17, jaw joiner, is dominating. Dominating. Let's go. Coos Corner. I have a feeling that was part of his agreement to return. He wants to headline Mania. That Mania match that he has better last no longer than 14 minutes because the guy is going to get gassed. Gassed. Yokozuna. Ich bin ein Blitzkrieger. I'm waiting for Florida State to explain what the hell happened. ACC, I can't believe Florida State voted in favor of a bad deal, but they do it all the time. If it's not Punk, it will be Cena. I tell you, WWE does a great job. First of all, they do a great job. I'm not a WWE fan. Coos Corner knows that. I'm not for Goliath. I'm for David when it comes to professional wrestling. But what they do a great job with production, although I can't stand all those LED lights. Too much for me, but I'm an old person. They don't care about my viewership. They do a great job of production, and they do a great job of using that nostalgia, that fuel. Nostalgia. People are watching. People get that nostalgia from the WWE, and they keep running it, and people love it. It's entertainment. WWE is like Coca-Cola. It's never going to fail. It's too big to fail. Yes, rest in peace to Yokozuna. Come on, Greg. CM Punk can outgas anything Chris. Well, that's probably true. I'll give you that too, Master. But you put CM Punk in there with Ospreay. You put him in there with Kenny Omega. He ain't lasting 8 minutes. He's not lasting 8 minutes. Coos Corner, I will be acknowledging my tribal chief, the OTC Roman Reigns. But he's not going to win that, correct? He's not going to win it. Okay, what do we got here? 19-16. I've completely we've gone off the rails. My apology. My apology. Again, I'm doing a terrible job. I'm out of practice. We haven't had a chance. We haven't done a watch party since the championship game. And again, this is probably going to be our last watch party until a spring football game. That's okay, Coos. That's okay. That's okay. You know how to get me started. You know how to get me started. My voice is addictive. My voice is grating. I have a terrible voice. My voice is probably it's got to be one of the worst voices. My voice is loud. I cannot pronunciate words. My singing voice. The worst part of my singing voice is that I like to sing, and I sing a lot. If I sang less, it would be okay. But I'm singing all the time. I'm singing off key all the time. I am grating. I'm absolutely grating. That is without a doubt. You're just a German. You're a German like I am. I'm German-Irish. So maybe you are okay with it a little bit. 2 minutes to go. 19-16. American has the ball. They're down by 3. Daniel Steele, all that fan. What the heck? I don't think that would work either. I think I would turn off. I don't think that would work. 19-16. I'm German, Irish, Italian, Greg. Wow. I'm Irish. I've got that Roney, which was Rooney. Black-haired Irish. My mother's all Irish. Not all Irish. She's got some German in her. My dad was German. Flugar is an actual Austrian name. Austrian. AURs at the end of names are Austrian. We got a first down for the American. Here we go. Illini Ted. As an Illini fan, we love college basketball, but I understand why the Big Ten has went all in on football. The tournament is too much of a crapshoot. Interesting, the SEC is seemingly going the other way. I think the SEC is going both ways. I think the only thing that I would knock the SEC on is if you look at the roster, their head coach roster. I think it could be better. I think that's like the only, this new era was going to be coming on in. SEC, I don't think they could do much about this closing gap between themselves and the Big Ten. It's just reality. More money above the table. The Big Ten was going to close the gap. They have. Okay. I think the only thing the SEC has done, which I would say maybe you could have done a little bit better, is the head coaching roster. I don't think it matches up to the Big Ten. Just my opinion. I think there are guys on there that I don't think they would get a head coaching job in the Big Ten. Or I don't know. You know what I mean, Rock and Rant. You know what I mean. I think SEC's using their resource advantage. and their brand advantage and their exposure advantage when it comes to basketball. Is that Brashard Smith? Brashard Smith, SMU, 2nd and 5 with 1 minute and 23 seconds to go. It is hard for schools to go and all in on multiple sports. I know some can do it, but that isn't the norm. See Utah, for example. Kerry Gold knows the SEC's using ESPN to their advantage. Absolutely. Back to pass. Dumps it out. Going to be a first down American. First down American. Helmer Hennison, I do apologize. I did not get to the super chat. I apologize, Mr. Wolverine. How many games does Wisconsin have to win in 2025? How many do they have to win to keep Fickle his job? Ooh, that's a good question. I think if they win 8, he keeps his job. I think if they win 7, he probably keeps his job because of that unbelievable, difficult schedule that they've got. In 2025, the Badgers play Miami of Ohio, Middle Tennessee. That's 2 wins. They play Alabama in Tuscaloosa. They play Michigan at Ann Arbor. They play Iowa. They play Ohio State. They play Oregon. They play Washington. They play Indiana. They play Illinois. They play Minnesota. I mean, my goodness, Wisconsin's not going to, they're only going to be the favorite in the Miami, Ohio game, the Middle Tennessee game, the Maryland game. Maybe Washington, Illinois, maybe, I doubt it. Luke Fickle is in some trouble. That schedule is no joke. It's 29 seconds to go, 2nd and goal. American trying to take the lead, dumps it off, down to the 4-yard line. No problem, Rock and Rant. No problem. Thank you, Helmer Henderson, for your super chat. Oh, there's a flag. There's a flag. Arian Smith, Georgia. He thinks the flag is on national. Illini Ted, the whiskey schedule is rough. Cincinnati, they start out, I wonder if Fickle could have navigated Cincinnati through the Big 12. Cincinnati begins the season next year against Nebraska. And where is that? It's going to be a neutral site, correct? But I'm not sure where that, I keep forgetting where that game is going to be played. Incomplete. It's going to be 4th and goal, 7 seconds to go. Here we go. It's going to be Nebraska versus Cincinnati in Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. Nebraska versus Cincinnati, Thursday, August 28th. Dylan Raiola versus Brendan Sorsby. 2 good quarterbacks. Here we go. Last play of the game, 4th and goal. Rolling out. There's nobody there. Yeah, he scored! Touchdown! Again, it's Beck. He might be the player of the game. Jack Beck of TCU.
Touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown!
America wins 22-19. And of course, Greg the Cooler had national. Holy smokes. I lose again and again and again and again. I think that's the player of the game. Jack Beck, TCU Horned Frogs. He had the most impact. Holy smokes. Buckeyes, Texas on opening weekend. Rock and rant thoughts and prayers to all those diehard National fans. So close to a natty. America to the NFL, National to the Pac-12. Okay, guys. I think we're gonna close it up. We've been on the air for over 3 hours. I want to thank you for joining us for this historic, impactful, important Reese Senior Bowl All-Star game. I want to thank you all. I want to thank for the donations. Kerry Gold Nose, Ryan Willie, Helmer Hennison. I appreciate your donations and the phone calls that we got. Thank you so very much. I do appreciate always those as well. Again, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, smash that like button if you liked our content today. Next week or tomorrow, we're going to be talking. We got a little bit of a Big 12 information about a scheduling. We believe they have secured a date going to 2026 and beyond, a non-traditional football day that's going to be Big 12 country. We believe they have secured that, and that's going to be announced here shortly. We'll talk about that tomorrow, Sunday. I appreciate you all joining us. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you, Kerry Gold Nose, once again for your incredible support. Thank you all. Until next time. From all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.